step into a new purpose and a new calling and a new territory with God, don't be fooled to think that just because God brought you out of something, that you're not going to have some seasons of doubt and some struggles and some battles. Here's the most profound thing. They knew they were going to the land flowing with milk and honey. They knew we were coming out of Egypt and we're going to the promised land. What they didn't know is that they're going to have to fight for the land that God has given them. That is a profound truth that we all who are in this battle have to see, that God gives you the land, but he also makes you fight for it. So don't be surprised when something comes at you. So quickly, I'm going to tell you 3 things to look for, to be aware of, that will likely come across your path to hinder you, stop you, once you set your mind out to be free to do what God has called you to do. Number 1, something comes to get you to agree to something that looks faster, better, and easier than what God is having you to do, but yet it takes you off track. This needs agreement. We saw this happen with the first sin in the Bible with Adam and Eve. The sin wasn't complete until Adam agreed. Eve agreed, nothing happened. Adam agreed. And with that agreement, sin was introduced into the world. And think about what the trick was. It was not to just eat the fruit. The problem with Adam and Eve is that they agreed to pass on everything that God had given them. They had everything there, but instead they focused on what they didn't have. The second way is to distract you by getting hindering behavior that is already in you to come out. So you're setting out, you're trying to do the will of God, you're trying to fulfill purpose, you're trying to do this thing and be free to run your race purposefully, get the destiny done, but there's this thing in you that's undealt with. Sometimes it's pride, sometimes it's other hidden sins, unforgiveness. So something will come along and it will trigger that thing in you. I believe that's what happened to David. David was not out at war and he saw this woman. Something had to be in David undealt with already, or perhaps developed over time as he saw so much success. He didn't just wake up one day and go and do what he did to Bathsheba and to her husband. Something was in him and it was undealt with. So as you're going through this process, you want to be humble. You want to be constantly forgiving, constantly checking yourself and making sure, God, is there anything undealt with in me? And a third thing is creating a scenario that causes you to make your own choice, because the scenario is so profound. We saw this with Peter. Peter loved the Lord. Peter was bold and courageous, but right at the point when they captured Jesus and that cock crowed, Peter started denying Christ, which was totally uncharacteristic of him. I believe that there was a spirit of fear that came on Peter that was unlike anything he had ever experienced. That day that they were grabbing Jesus, there was all sorts of spiritual activity going on, and we don't know what Peter felt. I believe Peter felt so much fear that came down on him that he didn't know what to do. All I'm asking is that you stay guarded, that you remember that when you pursue the right thing with God, when you set out to fulfill your destiny and call, it is like a promised land that you're going to. It is yours, but you're going to have to fight for it. But the good news is this fight is not yours. This battle is not yours. If God called you to it, he'll call you through it. Stay encouraged, my friends. There may be some battles, but God gives you what it takes. He does not send you in until you're ready.